Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Żaneta, back with another episode of We Came at the Wrong Time, but let's pretend it was intentional. It's been 3 years since our last visit to Meishan, and since Plum blossom season was starting, we thought, this is it, perfect timing, nature will reward us. Well, kind of. We came in mid-January, and only about 30% of the plum trees were actually in bloom. Not terrible, but also not wow. More like, okay, I see what you are trying to do. If you really want that full white flower explosion, I'd honestly recommend waiting a bit longer. That said, the crowds clearly didn't get the memo. There were a lot of people, and parking was, let's call it, a patience-building experience. If you are coming during blossom season, either come early or prepare yourself mentally. As always, the entrance area was lively, with vendors selling fresh local produce and street food. Inside the park, there were stores selling plum products in every possible form: pickled plums, dried plums, sweet plums, sour plums. Basically, if you love plums, this is your place. And if you don't, you might leave loving plums anyway. One thing that really surprised us was the weather. After days of temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius, a cold front finally moved away, and suddenly it was 25 degrees Celsius. Honestly, it felt like Taiwan skipped a season again. Winter jacket one day, short sleeves the next. Walking through Meishan Park in warm sunshine was actually really pleasant. The park itself is about 6 hectares, built on a hillside, with walking paths, terraces, playgrounds, and viewpoints. It's been around since the Japanese occupation period, when the first plum trees were planted, and now there are about 3,000 trees in total. There is also a memorial dedicated to 74 National Army soldiers who lost their lives due to natural disasters. Even though the blossoms weren't at their peak, it was still a nice walk, and a reminder that nature does whatever it wants, not what your calendar says. And because no Taiwan trip is complete without food or alcohol, or both, we continued our trip to Fulusho Tourist Winery in Yunlin. Now, this place is not just a winery. It's a wine museum, a tour inspectorate, and a crash course of Taiwanese history, with alcohol involved, which immediately makes history more interesting. Fulusho actually started way back in 1965 as a food company. The idea was to cherish food and avoid waste. So leftover rice and grains were used to make rice wine. They officially moved into alcohol production in the late 1990s, and later became the first distillery in Taiwan to receive dual government quality certification for both Raiswan and Gaoliang. So yes, this is not just random tourist wine. Inside the museum, you learn about traditional farming life, old agricultural tools used in different seasons, historic rice wine distillation equipment, and even a recreated 100-year-old distillation method. It's surprisingly interesting, even if you are not a big drinker. And if you are interested in alcohol, well, there is tasting. The whole museum focuses on the idea that wine has life, just like people do. Good wine needs time, history needs time, and apparently, patience, something I clearly lack when planning trips. They also offer DIY experiences during certain seasons. Things like fruit wine making, which is great if you want to learn something new, or just have an excuse to say, I made this myself. Best part? Free entrance, easy parking, and calm countryside vibes. It's one of those places that feels educational, relaxed, and not rushed, which is honestly a rare combination. Even though we didn't hit peak plum blossom season, this trip was still a really nice escape from the city. Meishan was calm, sunny, and full of snacks. The wine museum was unexpectedly interesting. Thanks so much for joining us on this little winter adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.